News from here in Washington, where activists gathered recently to address what they call a retreat in human rights around the world. During their two-day summit, the group met with President Barack Obama, hoping to effect change from the highest levels. Paula Schrieffer of Freedom House, which co-sponsored the summit, says they decided to bring all stakeholders in the fight for human rights together in Washington.
The last several years have seen some real backsliding in fundamental freedoms, even in parts of the world where freedom of expression and freedom of association have traditionally been pretty strong. We've seen backsliding, and we've seen even more backsliding in parts of the world where they've traditionally not been strong.
Human rights lawyer Arnold Tsunga from Zimbabwe says many governments, including in Africa, became increasingly authoritarian following the September 2001 terrorist attacks in the U.S.
The diminishing use of multilateral institutions that have been set up to deal with global challenges have resulted in many countries beginning to use the perception of fighting terrorism, using the perception of law and order and security as a pretext to clamp down on legitimate political activity, to attack human rights defenders, to persecute individuals when they begin to question how they are governed.
Tsunga says in Africa, most governments lack the political will to protect freedoms, though most are signatories to treaties such as the Namibian-based Southern African Development Community Tribunal and the Gambian-based African Commission on Human and People's Rights. Tsunga cites as an example a threat last year by Gambian President Yahya Jammeh to kill anyone aligned with human rights groups who destabilized the country.
The Gambia is the seat of the African Commission, which is the body that has been set up by African heads to monitor implementation of human rights. So the Gambia is supposed to be at the forefront of respecting rights.
Human rights defenders are also concerned that governments are curtailing civil liberties through legislation. One such example is Uganda's proposed anti-homosexual bill, says Julius Kaganzi Kagwa.
It is of so much concern to us as civil society back home because of its gross human rights implications, and also the danger that we run in infringing on the rights of minority groups in the name of religion and in the name of moral beliefs.
Kaitira Kanji of Namibia says some governments are successful in suppressing freedoms because of weak opposition and civic groups. He says despite government clampdowns on the media, it remains the strongest weapon against rights abuses and called for more U.S. support.
If you look in terms of Zambia, we have the Post, which is a very, very strong critic of the government. In Namibia, we have the Namibian newspaper. South Africa, we talk about Mail and Guardian. These are the kind of institutions that are there, at least to a certain extent to be the conduit of citizens in terms of holding their government accountable.
More than a forum for discussion, the summit ended with a recommendation to the Obama administration to adopt the upholding of human rights in its foreign policy and spearhead change around the world. Again, Paula Schrieffer of Freedom House.
The timing is good. There's a lot of interest on the part of this administration in hearing what they can do better. So that alone is something that we're happy about.